My name is Bennett, and welcome to our little homestead in South Central Alaska. We are finally coming out of the deep freeze of winter as we wrap up our long-term test of the amazing Arctic oven tent. Come along as we hunt, harvest, homestead, and adventure our way through the last frontier, because this is how we are living my Alaska. Welcome back. Welcome to Living My Alaska. It's the end of March. Spring is upon us after being at -45 for quite a while, -30, +30. Feels like a heat wave. We're wrapping up the end of the season. What I have for you is the end of the season test on this Arctic oven tent. We've been testing this tent since November, December, January, February, March. So 5 months of testing this Arctic oven tent in the extremes of South Central Alaska. We've gone from snowstorms to heavy wind to heavy snow on the tent. Chopping some wood. We're making a little wood fire. Maybe you can see there's heat waves and smoke coming out of the smokestack, which is always a beautiful sight. We're gonna chop this wood. We're going to make us a bigger fire. In the solo stove, we're gonna sit and have a chat. We're gonna talk about why we love this tent, but we're also gonna talk about why we came to Alaska, why we started this channel. And I thought you guys would like to hear more about what drove us to live this way. So stay tuned. Swinging splitting maul. It's a bit of an art form. You aim here, not here. Aim here, feet wide apart. Let the weight of the maul do the work. I'm not swinging very hard, and as I swing, my right arm is just used to guide, like that. How not to do it? What happened there is my aim was off, and the maul came down here. Try again. Once again, my aim is off. Try a third time. The difference is my willingness to let the maul do the work as opposed to me swinging it like this. When you swing it like this, you inadvertently push it out and you miss your aiming point. Splitting wood for an Alaskan favorite pastime. It's also great, as you can hear, great exercise. You always want to keep your metal axes out of the snow, out of the mud, out of the rain, best you can. You don't want them rusting. It's not like you can drive down the street and get a new one when you live in somewhat remote Alaska. If you want to make kindling, a good sturdy knife like this Benchmade serves a great purpose. What we're doing is we will put the knife into the wood like this, then use a second piece of wood as a hammer to drive it home. And folks, that is a much safer way. What you see on many TV shows about Alaska, where people do this and they swing just barely missing their fingers at every point. Very dangerous way. Eventually one of these fingers ends up where you don't want it and the finger comes off. So it's best to do it the long way, but also the safer way. Use your knife. Knife goes in the wood, and then you can use another piece of wood as a hammer. I believe this is called the Benchmade backcountry. If anybody knows for sure, let me know. All right, we have firewood. It's always a wonderful thing to have. A good sturdy piece of wood like this one. I prefer birch, but this works. This is spruce, and it makes for a great base to put your wood. Split it. Our wood stove is burning. It looks good. We're warming up in there. Got Vienna sausages for dinner. Kind of excited about that. After 5 months of testing this tent, I've learned a few things. This area here, you can call it a garage, a gear garage. It's one of the most valuable things for this tent because it gives me a spot to put gear, to keep things dry, keep my boots dry, but not necessarily in the tent with me. The rainfly is a very, very water resistant material, and it does a great job keeping the interior of the tent dry. The gem of this tent is the smokestack. That stove jack comes out the top of the tent. It's made of a fire resistant material. This here it's an air vent. This is the window. We have closed right now because it's so wet. Tie downs at many points keep this thing strong in heavy wind. Come on inside. Let's have a look. What we have in here is a very basic setup, and it's a wonderful setup. The centerpiece of this tent is this wood stove. It's metal. We have a fire going. It takes very, very small amounts of wood to make this thing very warm. I have the screen door open right now because it's still producing a lot of heat in here, and I can vent it, and there's no bugs right now. Yay! It's a rare sight in Alaska, no bugs. These smokestack pipes usually will nest inside of each other and collapse But I've got some changes that I'm working on, and so this is a temporary system, but you get the idea. It goes through the ceiling. There's no smoke in here. It works out very well. These cots, I believe, got an Arctic oven quite a long time ago. This is a Western mountaineering sleeping bag made out of down, a small pack of a pillow, and my Filson coat. And to get us off the floor and to be able to have somewhere to sit just like I'm doing now, folks, is a game changer when you're sore from hiking all day, when the ground is wet and cold. So what happens is, how we do that is cold air will come up from this ground. And so what you want to do is you want to put all of your gear under here. And so that insulates you from the ground, from that cold from coming up. And that helps tremendously. And this is how we sleep. We will hang our jackets and wet clothes up here, and it will be dry in the morning thanks to the heat and the circulation of this wood stove. What do we eat when we're in the back country? Nothing fancy. This is what I like. Vienna sausages. They're fantastic. I'll put them on the stove, pop the lid, they'll warm up, and it's a hot meal in a can. Here's the inside of the tent. This white material is made of a breathable material, moisture wicking, and fire resistant, and that's what makes the Arctic oven tent so special. There are tie downs in each corner for a gear loft where you can hang a loft up in the top if not using the wood stove, or you could just drape another clothesline from that end to that end, or a net, and you can put all of your gear up there off of the floor like a hammock. There is one thing to note. This floor is not waterproof. As you can see, it's very damp and very wet. We were on snow, now we're gonna be on water. So we make it a habit of bringing a towel and wiping up any water, mopping up in the corners. But this is a fantastic tent, and I could not be more pleased with it. This is heaven. To me it is, on a beautiful, clear, mid-March, mid to late March evening, pushing 9 o'clock, sun is setting, and we have a clear night, and the aurora forecast is high. And I am super excited about that, because that means we should see auroras, or northern lights, across the sky tonight, dancing rivers of neon green. It is a magical, almost a spiritual event. And so we're camping out tonight. And guys, it's quiet. It's peaceful. There's no computers, there's no flat screen TVs. This is real life, real living. The air is fresh and clean. There's no traffic. I see half to 3/4 moon in the sky. And listen, this is where it's at. This is why we live here. This is why we endure the long winters, the inconveniences, the expenses, the hard work it means to live in this environment. Let's warm this thing up. Okay, I have a battery operated lantern in here. I imagine that helps quite a bit. We have dinner, chicken Vienna sausage in the can, or if you're from the deep south, my wife pronounces this Vienna. Start this stove heating up. We're gonna cheat in the interest of time, because I know you guys sometimes have short attention spans and you don't want to watch me struggle with this for the next 45 minutes trying to start a fire. Quick way. As soon as it lights, you don't want that smoke coming out of here, so shut it. We'll put these back in here. I'm gonna go out and split a little bit of wood to help it along. Keep an eye on the fire for me. Very little wood to make a lot of heat in this little metal stove. And the biggest mistake you can make is overheating this thing, overfiring it inside this tent. I like what I see in there. So we have quite a beautiful little fire going in there. I'm gonna shut it. Yep, it's already getting quite warm. I love Vienna sausages. And this is what camp looks like tonight. And this little battery powered lantern up there, it's a 3-stage. And I've got it on its lowest setting right now, and you can see it's very, very bright. Very water resistant. They claim it will float. We'll see about that one of these days. The inside of the Arctic oven tent and the wood stove with the wood stove jack. Boy, this is not very well set up. I'm sure Arctic oven would not be happy with me tonight, because this is not the prettiest setup. Oh boy, it's going to be a fun night. We have the solo stove going, and we are waiting on the arrival of the auroras. We will drop this door, zip it up. Wow, I can feel the heat coming out of this wood stove now. So it is about, I think, about 25 to 30 degrees outside. Check this out. Up there is the thermometer, and just in the short time we've been in here, we've gone from freezing temperature to almost 70, and it's going to get hotter in here. So we will probably need to open this thing up and get some air. So inside the Arctic oven tent, they have a lot of vents like this one, and you can get some airflow through here. We need that right now because it's getting hot. So this is how I usually store my gear, hang my coats, which I will do right now. And you've got to hang them up. There's no point in leaving them on the floor of the tent. will just make it wet. Moisture is a problem. So we hang things. We're above 70 degrees in here. And that's how I usually hang things. Boot will go here, socks will go here, jackets will go here. And usually, so obviously you don't want them above your head. If you're sleeping at that end, then you put them down by your feet. If you sleep, and you put them opposite your head so they're not hanging in your face all night. But this is how that's done. Check it on those Vienna sausages stewing on a wood stove. Could there be anything better, folks? So you can see that stove jack. Brilliant design by Arctic Oven. Rubber grommet in the middle seals it up pretty well. You have a reinforced center and this fabric that goes all the way around. It stays dry, it breathes, and it's fire resistant. This entire tent will ball up and fit in a large plastic tote. We've got the Vienna sausages warming up. What else can I talk about? What else would you guys like to know about in Alaska? If there's anything you ever want to see or you want to know about Alaska, please let me know. Put it in the comments, send us an email. We're happy to share these events with you in this life. It's a really special one. Why do we live in this part of Alaska? I think this part of Alaska is so centralized that it gives us an opportunity to access all other parts without too much. We are within a few hours from Anchorage's major airport. We're within a half-day's drive to the ocean, where most of the salmon is, down on the Kenai Peninsula. We're very close to some world-class moose and caribou hunting, and we're not so far out that it presents a danger that we can't get to a hospital in case of an emergency or anything else. We're not off-grid living. We're not going to pretend to be off-grid living, and not likely going to be ever off-grid living, but we do like the rural lifestyle and semi-off-grid, and so that's what we want to do here, and that's what we're trying to do. So why living my Alaska? Well, after years, Dawn and I have lived a very blessed life from my eyes, and so much of it we've forgotten because we did not chronicle the amazing events of our life together, from humble beginnings in Louisiana and Mississippi to our time in the desert Southwest like Albuquerque in southern Colorado, to our time in Switzerland and traveling all over Europe and the northern hemisphere of North America, and then to Alaska. So much of it was never chronicled, and I deeply regret that. I have family, I have a bunch of young nephews in Louisiana that I really hope they see this and they see this is what kind of special life their uncle is living in Alaska, and I hope it excites them and inspires them to do something remarkable one day beyond where they grew up. And I hope it inspires all of you to know that whatever you want to do, if you're willing to make the sacrifices to do it, you can. It will definitely not turn out as you had planned, but that's the beauty of it. And that's why I'm living my Alaska. We wanted to chronicle the special life that we live. We wanted to show others this is possible. This is not TV. This is not network television. We wanted to show the realities of what it's like to live in this very, very unique place. Dawn and I took a year off, I think 2021. We bought a giant RV and traveled around the United States for 1 year. And during that time period, whenever we would go to any campground, whether it was Florida or West Virginia or Phoenix, Arizona, people would surround our campsite and ask us, do you really live in Alaska? Because they would see our Alaska license plate. And we'd say, yes, we live in Alaska. And I could see in their eyes the amazement and the appreciation, and it made me proud that I lived in such a place that so many other people found so amazing. And they had so many questions, and I just really enjoyed sharing our lifestyle with other people. And so upon returning to Alaska, I told my wife, I think we need to do this. And if you're curious, starting a YouTube channel correctly, the right way, is not easy. It is a tremendous amount of work. It takes a lot of patience to set up these cameras, gather the data from these cameras, and put it into a format where you might find it even remotely interesting. That's not easy. It's a tremendous amount of work, and there's no money in it. Yes, there are exceptions. Of course, there are YouTube famous people that are making big money, not us. At this point, at the time of this filming, we're not even monetized by YouTube at all, so this is all completely free, done on my time, when I should be earning a living doing something else. But we have other ways of making an income, so this is fine. At this point, it's a hobby. We're waiting for the auroras, and it's time to eat chicken Vienna sausage. Eat it before the bears get it. Folks, don't laugh, but not too many years ago, my wife and I had the privilege of dining in London, one of the Queen of England's dining halls. We had the Queen's beef. Ask me if this is better. This is living. Hey, by the way, I'm not supposed to say see you next time. I'm supposed to say we have some darn good videos for you to watch. You ought to check out our videos of going through Denali National Park and seeing the moose, and by the way, the caribou that almost ran over us outside the campground, the grizzly bears in the campground, and the remarkable scenery that is Denali National Park. Check out that video. If you're curious on what we do to manage the snow loads around here, check out the videos that I've created on the Can-Am six-wheeler Can-Am Outlander 1000 6x6 with the snowplow on the front. By far the best machine I've ever purchased in Alaska. For adventure in Alaska, for hunting in Alaska, and for snowplowing our drive. We complement that with a very powerful snowblower. We've made some fantastic videos about the Aaron's Kraken professional level snowblower, and we've made some pretty cool videos about the various snow machines that we use, snowmobiles. If you're in the lower 48s, Alaskans call them snow machines. So if you're curious about life in Alaska and you want to see more, check out those videos. Grab a can of Vienna sausages for yourself, kick back, and press play. See you soon. Thank you so much for watching as we hunt, we harvest, we homestead, and we adventure our way through the last frontier. Please like, subscribe, and share our videos because we have so much more to share with you as we show you what it means when we say we are living my Alaska. See you next time.